A very frequent question from my students and colleagues. Natalia, what pressure do you apply? Undoubtedly, it's very difficult to convey the degree of pressure in words. Nevertheless, I want to say right away that it differs depending of the hand. Pressure represents the most important difference between the techniques of microblading and permanent makeup. I tried to illustrate the difference in the pressure of the working hand when performing various techniques. Now you can see the position of the hands when placed on the glass. This example clearly shows that the pressure of the working hand is stronger when performing lines, and the little finger is placed in the palm of the hand. When performing shading, on the contrary, it serves as an additional point of fixation, and the location of the hand allows you to perform movements with more amplitude. Hand pressure is minimal when performing shading. In this example, I tried to show you the positioning and application of pressure when performing shading and linear techniques. Here you can see that when we perform the linear technique, the hand presses the surface more. In this example, I'd like to show you the pressure itself, the force of the pressure with which we make lines. If you press a little harder, the ball can burst. You should apply an amount of pressure that will allow you to freely perform movements away from and toward yourself, and at the same time not destroy the surface of the ball. This is the main difference between the techniques of microblading and using a digital device for permanent makeup. The microblading techniques apply pressure. The techniques of digital devices for permanent makeup don't apply pressure at all. Thus, our task is to touch the surface of the skin with the working edge of the needle and draw a line or make a movement without the slightest pressure. Of course, when we make lines, we concentrate more. The working hand is heavier and we apply more pressure on skin. When performing shading techniques, the working hand is, on the contrary, as light as possible, since the movements are more superficial and have more amplitude. So the time has come to summarize the main module of our online course: the movement of the hands. This is the direction of the needle, the direction of the movement itself, the angle of the handpiece, the speed of the movement, and the depth that we use when working. Remember that the direction of the needle always corresponds to the direction of the lines to avoid micromigrations of the pigment. The direction of the movement away from the master is done at 45 to 90 degrees, but working towards the master, the direction should always be 90 degrees to avoid skin resistance and to ease the movement. If we talk about speed, you should remember a simple rule. Slowly means intense and bright, but quickly means transparent and thin. The angle of the device's handpiece, if we need an intense bright line, we work with an angle of 45 degrees. 60 degrees gives us an average result in intensity, but to get the thinnest elegant lines, we use an angle of 90 degrees of the handpiece. An important point: remember, when working with permanent makeup, we do not use pressure at all. We do not vary the depth in order to achieve sufficient intensity. We differ the speed of the movement, the number of passes, or the density of the pigment.